Warning: this podcast may contain adult language not suitable for snowflakes. In addition, you may see smoking and be subject to opinions you cannot handle. If you are a snowflake, please stop this video and go fuck yourself.
Welcome back into Rock Hard Music. Today I want to kill two birds with one stone. I hate to keep piling on the old spaceman here, but you almost have to, right? With all the things he's said and done over the last few months, you just have to, when the truth exposes itself, you have to call it out. At least I do. And that mainly stems because I have heard forever the likes of Eddie Fatboy Trunk and others piling on Paul about his voice, right? So we're gonna attack back here, and this just came upon my awareness by accident while I was putzing around on the internet. I had no idea this happened, exactly when it happened, but it's fairly recent. First, I want to give a little backstory for the Ace drama here. He had made the comment, and the quote is on the thumbnail, but something like, I can play rings around Paul Stanley. I can even sing better than Paul Stanley, and I don't have to use backing tracks. Okay, well, if you watch my channel and you watched my video on walking on the moon, and you've watched my video on 10,000 volts, and you watched the live reaction to 10,000 volts, you know that he can't sing rings around anybody. Even with Paul's vocal state now, Paul Stanley could destroy Ace Frehley as a vocalist. As far as playing rings around Paul Stanley, now Paul Stanley's never been a certifiable, self-proclaimed lead guitarist, right? So I always say that's apples and oranges, rhythm player versus a lead player. But over the years, I have seen Paul play plenty of lead solos. I've also watched him with Kiss, with the Live to Win tour. I've watched him in acoustic, meet and greet sets, plugged in meet and greet sets. The man is still a top-notch guitar player. So, little dice clay for you there. Let's address stone, or bird number one with the stone. This is Mr. Frehley, very recently giving you a little sample of his techniques.
I was listening last night, not just to the studio version of Shock Me, but I was listening to the live version on Kiss Alive 2. And of course, live, you would go into that extended jam thing at the end and then go into your guitar solo. And there's a moment towards the end of that where you start doing some two-handed tapping stuff, it sounds like. And I've heard this debated for years by fans. Some people say Eddie Van Halen stole that from you. Some people say you stole it from him. Was it just a happy coincidence? Because obviously, there's anytime something like a technique like that, there's a bunch of people out there kind of hitting on the same thing. But what's your take on that?
Well, before Van Halen became famous, Gene discovered them. You're aware of that,
sure.
Right? You know the story.
Yeah.
But all I can tell you is when I was doing my guitar solo at Madison Square Garden before they became famous, Eddie was down in the pit watching every move I made. But, you know, I never picked with a... I did it with the pick. I didn't do it with my finger. But, you know, Eddie probably got some ideas from me, just like I got ideas from other guitar players. But he perfected it. I mean, there's no way I could play some of the solos that he pulled off.
Where was that influence? Who were you sort of pulling that from? Who had you seen do that before?
As far as I can remember, I think I just came up with it. And then, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. Now, Ace seems like a really nice human being. He really does. Now, I love Ace, regardless of how much I like to poke at him. But again, he's brought it on himself, right? Now, I am far from a professional guitar player, but this is how it sounded when I would try to do, you know, little metal tricks in like year 2 of my learning of guitar at like age 7 or 8, right? I mean, this is beyond horrible. I mean, even you listen to that second part, it's like, oh, no, wait. I mean, it's just like when someone's trying to show you, I learned this new thing. Oh, wait, I screwed it up. Oh, wait. It's bad, right? I'm supposed to believe this guy with this and that live horrific performance at 10,000 volts, that he could play circles or rings, in his words, around Paul Stanley on guitar. Give me a fucking break. At this point in time, I think it's not even a competition, but Paul wanted to be a lead guitarist. He's 10 times the player Ace is. I mean, facts are facts, man. Say what you want about his voice. Paul whips some serious ass on that guitar. He does plenty of little, you know, fun things, like when he's doing the intro to Black Diamond and stuff. I mean, the Ace is like, man, it's like he's just learning how to play guitar. And everything he does, he's so, even the live video, he's so hyper focused on watching what he's doing. He's like a complete newbie. I mean, you could say what you want. Okay, this recording I just showed you, well, it's not really a setting to where he was prepared to play. Okay, I see this done by Michael Kelly Smith on a regular basis, guitarist from Brittany Fox. For those that don't know, you should know, and shame on you if you don't. And many other musicians, where they'll sit down with an interviewer and they'll be talking and they'll just go through some licks and stuff completely unrehearsed, just off the top of their head, and they sound like guitar fucking players, lead guitar gods. This is horrible. Now I'm going to get to the second bird with the giant stone I'm throwing in Frehley's direction. As far as I'm concerned, or as far as I remember, I believe I invented. Now, you can say, okay, ignorance, just that he's never seen or heard anybody do it before, so he thought he invented it, right? It's plausible. It's also plausible that it's an ego thing, right? And he did the right thing. He's like, well, Eddie perfected it. I could never play what he did. It was kind of like those pat myself on the back while giving the other guy credit too. You know, like Gene with his, I created the devil horns. Well, first of all, I've been screaming this on my couch every time I hear an interview for decades. Gene, devil horns. Neither one did he fucking create, all right? This is sign language for I love you, right? Richard Dawson was fucking doing this. this is nothing gene created, right? They're all windbags. All these fucking celebrities and musicians are just dislocating their shoulder on a daily basis, patting themselves on the fucking back, right? But in case anybody out there is screaming to pat Eddie Van Halen on the back, he didn't fucking invent it either. I did some research on this a long time ago. This shit goes back to like the 1700s with violin players. There's also footage all over the internet of a Italian guitar virtuoso, I believe, from like 1965 who was demonstrating this, black and white footage, right? This is nothing new. And even if there wasn't footage, if you use any common sense and you've ever touched a guitar in your life, you fuck around with it when you don't know what you're doing. Just because Eddie Van Halen perfected this, as Ace says, and I don't say perfected it, I say if you want to look at perfection, you look at Vito Bratta when it comes to tapping. But Eddie certainly made it mainstream and famous. But people are dabbling with their instruments all the fucking time. You're trying to tell me some guitar player in 1920 wasn't sitting down on the fucking chair and dropped his pick and started strumming with his fingers and, oh, wait a minute, that makes a sound. I mean, come on, man. Nobody invents shit. Somebody just makes it noticeable, right? I mean, it's just, you cannot say, you can't put your finger on the first person who did anything. So that's bird number 2 shot to hell. And he wasn't doing it to be braggadocious. He wasn't saying I invented it, but come on, Ace. I just can't get over his horrible playing. I mean, at this point in time, if you want to sit in the Ace camp and bitch and moan that, or even if you're not in the Ace camp, if you're in the camp that Paul sucks, his voice is horrible, he should have quit a long time ago, he needs backtrack, blah, 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 you better all be up on your fucking soapbox and fucking pounding your chest for Ace Frehley to put the guitar down and never fucking publicly play again. Because this is horrific. The live version of 10,000 Volts was horrific. His vocals are embarrassing. His very demeanor on stage is embarrassing. Like I said, the hyper concentration on every... I mean, do you really see other lead singers / guitarists in the middle of their verse back away from the microphone, tuck their chin down, stop singing while they're trying to find the placement for their hands? I mean, you might see a quick glance, but they don't miss a fucking beat with the words. The man has deteriorated to a joke. And the only reason I keep pushing on it is because he won't shut his mouth about Paul Stanley. So until he learns that sometimes it's better to just not talk about something, I'm going to keep pointing out every goddamn thing he does that is horrific. Again, loved him with Kiss. Big fan during the Trouble Walk and Frehley's Comet stuff. Not a fan of his stuff since then. But I certainly respect everything he has done as an influencer and as a musician, especially with Kiss. But he's picking at the most legendary band in the world and my greatest love in the world and my idol, Paul Stanley. And when you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to come out and I'm going to swing back. It's just the way it goes, man. Paul's far from perfect. I don't give a shit. His voice is shot. I admit it. Sure, there's some backing tracks here and there. He's still Paul Stanley, right? You want to say it's still Ace Frehley and he's still a legend. Well, it's still fucking Paul Stanley. So, anyway, I saw that. I had a good chuckle, so I figured I'd have to bring that to you. And That should give hope to any aspiring guitar player that's just picked up a 6-string and is crying because his fingertips are, bleeding with blisters and can't play a note without the fret buzz because his fingers aren't strong enough. Hey, you only got to get this good to put out an album. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.